Now that was the look of a player who has just sacrificed a queen for a knight. Lei Tingjie in this final round of the women's candidates against Koneru Hambi went on to play queen takes knight. And after pawn takes, she proceeded to put a rook on the open file. A queen for a piece. The unfortunate thing is she went on to lose this game, but the move itself was brilliant. It's considered the best move of the tournament by a lot of players. So let me show you what happened that led to this position and how did Li Tengye went on to lose the game from here. The position looks great, right? But she had to find a tough move after opponent played knight d7. This is where she misplayed it. I mean, after rook checking was here. Here she had only one really good move to keep the advantage. But first, let me show you how this strange position happened. It was a Nimzo Indian by Koneru Hambi. And after a3 takes, this is a very aggressive line of the Nimzo Indian when white plays f3. So Li Tangi is known to be an aggressive player. So she goes for f3, e4, d6, e4, knight c6, bishop d3, and we have knight a5. The awkward pawn structure here makes for moves like knight a5 sensible. c4 is a target. Bishop a6 will almost win the pawn. So now h6, bishop back, g5, bishop f2, bishop a6, putting pressure on the pawn. How do you defend it? I mean, you can play queen e2. That's one option. What else is there? We can even push it, right? I mean, you can ignore that pawn. So computer's best move here is actually f4. I wonder why, because after f4, let's say black ignores that and takes the pawn. We have queen a4 check. But queen a4 check, pawn b5. Bishop takes, knight takes, and then queen a4 check. So the pawn is not really hanging. So she ignores it with h4, does Li Tengye. And after rook g8, knight e2, still the pawn isn't hanging. Now the pawn is hanging. And here, Li Tengye plays c5. Takes, it's a pawn sacrifice, right? To get this nice pawn chain in the center. Queen e7, preparing to castle long, is Koneru Hambi. And here, takes, and Li Tengye plays queen a6, stopping black from her plan of castling. So Koneru Hambi plays c4, trapping the queen from coming back. So was this prep? It looks like prep. It's 1 minute 27, so I'm not sure. Li Tengye is a very, what do you say, different kind of personality. She might have just thought of this and played this, or it could have been prep. So after knight g3, so white is heading for this knight f6 square. And the king will stay in the center. Rook can also come to h7. So things look very nice for white, but this queen is kind of trapped. After c6, the queen is actually trapped. You cannot bring it back. There is no path for the queen to come back in the game. I mean, not just come back to be alive, because black is about to play knight b8. Knight b8, queen c8 is there. So first king d8, king c7, and then knight b8. Knight e4. So c6 also allowed this square to be weak. So instantly Lei Tengye goes for it. And now king d8, knight d6, and king c7. Hambi calmly threatens knight b8. But after rook h7, knight b8, Lei Tengye had prepared a nice surprise for Koneru Hambi. Just queen takes. I mean, that's like the only move now, but she went into a position where this had to be played, where this was like okay for her. Now takes and now rook b1. Calmly putting a rook on the open file. If you allow rook b7, what will happen? King d8. First of all, you get back the queen, and after king takes, it's almost mate. So you get back the queen, you'll be down an exchange, but the rook and knight will be very active. So this is actually nice position. Knight d7, almost the only move. Knight d7, rook b7. I mean, at least the knight stops the queen getting taken. And here, this is where Li Tengye was seen in the first few seconds of this video. The expression on Li Tengye's face was from this position. She was considering her options. She's like, I'm down a queen for a piece, and I've got a great position, but what next? When there are options, you can go rook takes f7. This is one of the two fine options. Actually, there are three good options. Knight takes, rook takes, and the tough one, bishop e3. This was the hardest move to find, and she couldn't find it. This would have given her an advantage. This is such a difficult move to find. Did she take her time for this? Yeah, she took almost 1 hour in this position. So she played knight takes f7. So what would have happened if rook takes f7? I mean, the queen will go. Yeah, there's no way to save the queen. So you can just give up the queen. Queen takes, knight takes, let's say king e7. Because king e8, knight d6 check, and you lose one more pawn. So king e7. And now knight back to d6. I think rook b8 is a good option. Rook b8 loses the a pawn. So rook g b8. And you attack the g pawn. So when rook takes, bishop takes, king f8, you still have like one pass pawn, two connected pawns here. So this is an equal position. This was rook takes f7. Now she played knight takes f7. The tough move was bishop e3. If bishop e3 happens, what this the idea is to play bishop takes pawn. So for example, if black plays a silly move like rook b8, let's say, then just bishop takes g5. The rook can't take. If rook takes, we have rook h8, and the queen will have to give it silver, and it's mate. I mean, almost mate. Yeah, it's rook takes, knight f7. You win a lot of pieces back. King c8. Wait a minute. Yeah, knight. You can win either rook. You can exchange here and then take here, or you can play knight d6 and win the other rook. It's just winning. So she can't take the after bishop in g5. She can't take with the rook. If she take with the queen, then knight f7. Again, you win a lot of material. King can't go to e8 because mate. Wait. King d8. King d8, rook and d7 is mate. Either rook. And if king f8, rook f7 is mate. So king will have to come to e7, and then you take the queen with check. And then you take here, you get back the material. And after, let's say, king e8, you take here, knight takes, and position is just great. So that was the idea behind playing bishop e3. Bishop e3, the best move for black after bishop e3 would have been, wait, is there no good move for black? Yeah, just f6. But white keeps the advantage because now you get back the queen. You're down an exchange, but you get back a lot of material. I mean, a lot of pawns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Okay, equal pawns, but these are doubled, and the pawn structure is not that great. So here, for example, rook g7, the game goes on. It's fairly equal. So this was the other option. This was the move that gives her an advantage. But in the game, she played knight into f7. And after king c8, she went back with the knight. Now Hambi gives up the queen and gets a position where she's up a full rook. Okay, not full rook. You get back the knight. So up down an exchange is Lei Tingjie. And after king a6, here there is still 39 minutes for Lei Tingjie. And this was move number 29. So 11 moves. So here uh, Lei had to play pawn a4. So the reason why she lost this game was because the king came in and took everything on the queen side. So what happened was rook e7 and now king got in. Takes and it's already lost. The black king is too active and the a pawn is gone, c pawn is gone, and she lost the game. So what she could have done here was a4. The black rooks cannot really leave that line, the last rank, because the pawn is too much to handle. Right? So black will have to keep an eye on that, which means if you had played a4, the black king couldn't enter. But after this, the king entered, and here white had to activate the king as fast as possible to not lose the c pawn. But she played rook takes, and now king a4, rook e5, rook d8, taking care of the pass pawn, king d2 takes, rook c5, g4, activating the other rook, f4, g3, bishop e3, and rook h6, threatening to play rook h2 and pick up the pawn. So king e2, king takes, rook takes, king b3, d5 takes, f5, and now rook pins the bishop, takes. So there's not enough counterplay for white. There's no play for white for the exchange down. So black is just too active and has enough pass pawns. Bishop f4, king b2, just preparing to promote the pawn. Takes, push, and now promote. So she's a full rook down as Lei Tingjie. And after g4, all Hambi has to deal with these two connected pass pawns, which is easier said than done, but her own counterplay is good enough. Now, and here, just check, and the pawn is gone. And now Humby does not even take the pawn, he can take it right away. She takes a little bit of time and plays promotion, which is even better. Because if you promote here, there was check and mate. I mean, you get their queen and we are up a queen. So that was the point. So rook takes, and here Lei Tingjie resigned. It's one of those unfortunate games where the player played a brilliant move to get a good position, but went on to lose the game.